Hello, it's Liz Yuille from Old Stables Crafts. Thank you for joining me again for another Simple Stamping Saturday. This is where I take one basic project and make it three ways. One, quick and simple, and then I do two stepped up versions, which I'll just talk you through. As you may know, we have a designer series paper sale on at the moment where you get 15% off these 9 packs of paper. So these are all from the annual. And basically this is all of the papers other than the colour families and the specialty paper, which is the artistically inked expressions. I can't remember, but it's that one, which is currently on back order anyway. So I'm going to be using hand penned. This is going to be, instead of £10.75, just £9.14. This is the moment to stock up on all those papers that you weren't quite sure if you wanted, but now's the moment to give it a go, or just stock up on your favourites. So this is the card that I have made, and I'm using a stamp set from one of the kits, and I'm using some additional embellishments from one of the other kits. So the stamp set, which is this one, and I'm using the You're the Best, is from the Let's Party treat packaging kit. So once you've got the kit, you get to keep the stamp set and use it again. And I'm also going to be using Misty Moonlight because there is a stamping spot in the kit, so we might as well use the ink we've got. I'm going to be using a full-size ink pad. You can also use the block that's in the kit, and again I'm going to be using one of our ergonomic blocks, but this is use what you've got, just add some paper. Then the embellishments are from the Notes of Cheer card kit, and they are these wonderful. These are like the In Colour jewels, except they are just iridescent. There's no real colour. This I've coloured with Poppy Parade just to see if it worked, and it does. You still get that iridescent look. So you get lots of the dots in your Notes of Cheer card kit, so you can just use the leftovers. So this is the card that I've made, and you can see those lovely jewels, gorgeous. And then I've stamped with the Misty Moonlight, but because I've stamped on the green, it's obviously gone, it's picked up the green background, but it still goes beautifully. Misty Moonlight is in the hand-penned paper, which is why I've chosen the hand-penned. And this is the same piece of paper, back and front. So let me show you the papers that you get in that kit, in that pack. I've got all of my papers chopped up into card front sizes so I can show you. So, right, so we've got, they're all A and B sides. So the A side for me is the one that is the multicolour, and then the B side is the single colour. So these are the A sides, and these are the B sides. So this is the one that I've just used, and I've just used the front and back. And then the one I'm going to use is going to be this one, which has got Blushing Bride on the back, but again it's got the blue on the front. But aren't they pretty? So pretty. So those are the papers that I'm going to be using. Right, so note card and envelope. Oh, and I've obviously decorated the envelope, and because we're using discounted paper, I've put paper on the back of the envelope and just cut round it, and I'll show you how to do that. So let me grab some bits of that paper. So I've got some just scraps. Now I'm not sure that this is going to be quite wide enough for the envelope. Yes, it is. It's perfect. Marvellous. So that's going to be a really good use of that piece, which otherwise is a bit of a nothing piece. So we'll save that for the envelope. And then for the card, all I need to do is fold my note card in half and burnish, and then do it from both sides. Then I'm going to grab my seal tape runner and just seal all the way around the edge. I find this much easier than trying to cut a piece of paper and get it lined up. Much easier to put the adhesive onto what you're going to stick to, and then you can cut round Simple as that. And then I'm going to put some down the middle as well, just in case. So all I need to do is line this edge up against my fold, which is, you know, you're sticking something that is got stick. So you're sticking something that isn't sticky onto something that is. So just be aware and just be a little careful before you drop your card down. And then just burnish the back. And then all I'm going to do is grab my snips, and then from the back I'm just going to trim round that edge. And I'm kind of gently pushing against this, so the top blade I'm slightly pushing against the card so that I can use that as my guide. And so long as I do that, I will cut straight. It's as simple as that. And there we have our lovely card front. Except, of course, I was supposed to do it the other way round. I was supposed to put the blushing bride that way, but it's fine. It's fine. It just means we're going to have blushing bride on top of blushing bride, but it's actually, I've got an idea of how we can do that. Right, so I'm going to cut this down. I want it to be kind of in proportion. So I'm going to use this piece. As I say, I should have put this face down. Oh, sorry, this onto the card. That was my original plan, but it's fine. So I'm just going to do this by eye. I'm going to cut this so that it's roughly the same all the way around. Basically, I'm taking an inch off. So this is 3.5 by 5, if my memory serves. So I want this to be 2.5 by 4. Let me grab my ruler and just show you that. So yeah, 5 inches by 3.5. So long as this is 2.5, which it pretty much is, I can cut this to 4 inches and it will be perfect. So I might as well use my mini chopper for that. So I'm going to go just very fractionally under 4 inches because the width is very fractionally different. It's not quite the 2.5 inches that I wanted, so that's fine. So we're going to stick this onto our card front, just with some more seal. And there isn't really a right way or wrong way, but whichever way you think looks better to your eye. And then just pop that down, get rid of the bit of glue that I've just run on there. And then so that the sentiment is going to show up, I'm actually going to stamp it on the pink and then I'm going to back it. So we'll be going slightly into the next level of card, but that's fine. So my Misty Moonlight, and I'm going to use this piece because it's sitting there looking at me, so I might as well. So I'm just going to stamp that, and I'm stamping it towards the bottom right hand corner. I'm not going right over to the right, but just that sort of area. Now if you don't get a good impression, you can always use your stamping pierce mat or a pile of magazines if you don't have a stamping pierce mat. I've got a slightly bungee surface, so it's fine. And then this I'm going to trim. See, I haven't really done this terribly. I'm going to use my big trimmer. I haven't done this in a very clever fashion. It's fine. So I'm going to line that up. So that's at about 3/4 of an inch. I can probably make it a little bit less than that. Perhaps I can go a little bit. In fact, what I'm going to do, I'm going to change my mind. I'm going to trim the bottom. Or the bottom. I'm going to just trim that down a wee bit so that this is even narrower than it would otherwise be. So trim that off, and then I can trim this down so that it's even narrower. So it's going to be slightly over 1/2 inch. And then, so that's our stamped piece. And then purely because I made a boo-boo, I'm going to use a piece of this. In fact, I'll go that way, I think. So I'm going to cut this at 3/4 of an inch. And then I'm going to use that to back my stamped piece because I went wrong. So I'm just going to change it a bit. Move something that's just fallen over under my feet before I measure my length on it. So all I'm going to do is be doing that so that there's a margin, because this on top of that really isn't terribly impressive, even though I'm going to be putting it on dimensionals. But if I add this piece to this piece, it will look fine. And all I'm going to do first is just cut this down a wee bit, and then, oh, straight would be good. That's better. And then just snip up the middle, and then go from the corner to the point that you've snipped to. Do that again, like that, and you get that nice flag, or you would do if you'd cut it fully. This is obviously one of those cards that's just not going to be kind to me. Just going to add some seal to the back. Go all the way to the end. And then pop this so that I can have a little bit of a margin all the way around. And then I tend to cut these long and then come in. In fact, I'll come in that way first, and then just want to be able to see where I'm cutting to. Always good. There we go. First one's always a little bit harder than the second one. There we are, just a little flag end. And I'm going to put dimensionals on the back of that. I've got an end piece there, so I might as well use that for the end. And then, because this is just paper, I'm using a little bit more dimensional than I would normally use. If this was card, I wouldn't use 3, but paper is obviously less resilient. And then pop that so that it's lined up against the edge, and just pop that down. And then grab my lovely jewels. Now, if you've got to take your pick, these are great to pick up with your bungee end. Let's just redo my bungee end. So if you need a little bit more sticky, you just twist and it comes out. It's quite slow at coming, so this is actually going to get longer. And then I'm just going to get one and pop one down there on the join. And the joy with these is they kind of pick up the colours of what's around, because they are that Aurora Borealis, AB. So they do kind of pick up their surrounding area. So they almost look blushing bright. So can you see that? So as I say, because I had intended to use this pink as the outside, I've changed it slightly, so it just shows you that you can. Right, so now all I've got to do is add the piece of paper. So what I tend to do, let's just have a look at that. So what I'm going to do is get rid of my ink pad, because I don't need that anymore. I'm going to get my seal again, and while I'm on the paper, I'm going to run this right along that fold, and I've got it over the paper so that if any extra glue goes over the edge, it's going onto the paper that it's about to be stuck onto, so it's fine. And then just pull that away and just make sure that if any glue is still there, you kind of flick it in. And then I can just, again, using the paper that you're going to stick it to as a guide, or as a protection for your work surface, and so that you get right to the edge of your envelope flap, you can, whoops, I missed a bit there. You can just run slightly over the edge. there, a little bit there we go. So that is now fully sticky. So I'm going to take this piece and, making sure I haven't got any right on the edge there, which I haven't, I'm going to attach my envelope flap to my paper, lining up that fold at the top. So it's right on that fold. And if you think you've got any adhesive, now is the moment to get rid of it. Just run your finger along and it will come off. If you've got an adhesive, whoa, knock one of my lights. If you've got one of these adhesive removers, you can use that. And then again, we're just going to use our snips to run round the edge. It's not quite as easy as running around the edge of the card because you're only pushing against paper, but it does still work by pushing against the paper, so against the envelope flap. But just guide yourself round. If you're worried, just cut slightly outside of the envelope flap, so make it a little longer. And then up the side like that. And there we have our pretty card using some of our discounted papers. So let me get rid of the bits and let me show you the other versions that I've made, which are this one. So again, basically the same idea. I've got it on thick white card. I've got Blushing Bride and Misty Moonlight mats. And again, I've managed to do it the right way around by having the B side facing. And then again, just cutting this. This I used the banner punch. So this take a pick banner. So that's that one, and then the piece of twine that I ran round before sticking this layer down. And I've just added a little bit of adhesive in some strategic places so that the twine stays in place. So that's that one. And then this one I've kind of thrown the kitchen sink at a bit. So it's on Pale Papaya, which is one of the colours in the paper. It's this colour. Actually, I think that might be cinnamon cider, but it is one of the colours in the paper. Then I've put it on Garden Green, which is this green. I've embossed with the, what's it called? I want to say Pretty Floral. Oh no, Ornate Floral 3D embossing folder. I'll have all of this listed on my website. And then I've die cut using the stitched rectangles, some mats for the middle and also for the sentiment. And I've used a corner of one of the rectangles to do that flag. And these are the In Colour Jewels, and these are actually in Pale Papaya, but because there's a lot of yellow around, they've kind of picked up that yellow hue. And again, the twine that I've stuck with some little dots of the multi-purpose liquid adhesive. So there you are. We have got two versions of the more straightforward version, and then our two stepped up versions. So I hope you've enjoyed that. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. Questions or comments, please leave those below. I do always get back to comments. It may take me a couple of days, but I will always reply. So it's lovely to get your feedback. If you've got any queries, that's the best place to raise them. If you need any of these products and you're in the UK, you can shop my store, and there's a link below. If you go over to my website, where there is also a link below, you'll get some photographs of these and the full list of products, which I will list in the order in which I've added them. So I'll start with the note cards and envelopes and the paper and just go down. I will list at the bottom the two kits, but obviously what I'm saying is use whatever stamps you've got and whatever ink pads you've got, and if you've got some leftover embellishments from something else, use those. So thank you very much indeed for joining me. I hope you have a fantastic day, and I will see you again next week, I hope. In the meantime, keep well, keep safe, and I'll see you again soon. Bye!